All right. It's that time again. It's time for round 2 of the Apex World Championships. Now, there was a lot of different possibilities that could have been shown to us when watching the first race, and we got a pretty interesting picture in that initial showing. That being that Ferrari's dominance hasn't gone anywhere, but only really because of one particular driver. The spectacular Swede himself, YC, has been on an absolute charge, especially on the first race where he was in a league of his own. But just a little bit behind him was Sod 85 in the Mercedes of all things. The Mercedes team haven't actually been able to get a win in the Apex World Championship, so seeing this kind of jump is kind of spectacular for them. And of course, occupying the next spot in the podium is the fan favorite Jerry Pecco, who initially was going to drive for Aston Martin, but they ended up rejecting him for who's the person who won the other, like, who's the person that won the championship for the other game? What was their name?
I'm not too sure.
Let me flick through the names. Was it I'm still trying to get used to the names because, you know, new faces and stuff. You know what, the name will come back to me. But but despite Aston Martin replacing it with a driver that's had incredible pace, they ended up crashing with only 5 laps to go, and Jerry Pecco got a podium finish for Stake, which I'm pretty sure is exactly what they were looking for. But now, here's the real question. Will the momentum from YC, Sod 85, and even Jerry Pecco carry over into the qualifying? Right. Hold on. We're getting our first cup. We wait all of that time for one of us to talk, and after like 10 seconds, we still both talk at the same time. The human mind is incredible. But still, wait, hold on! Wait a second! Is that geometry? Yes, I can't believe this either, but Ferrari's previous world champion, Geometry, is back on the track after supposedly retiring after the first race. Nobody could have seen this coming. He's coming in a race late, and he's looking to try and knock YC off his throne and become a double champion. If that's what's going on here, then Ferrari have an all-star lineup for this season, and I'd be surprised if anyone can catch them. Do you have any, like, predictions on how this could shape up the driver? Wait, Snake, do you have any predictions on how this could shift up the driver standings? Because the way I'm seeing it, this was looking like YC's championship for the win, but now I'm starting to question things.
Yep. Well, we've seen the pairing of YC and Geometry before in leagues such as PALC and the likes. The two work together great as teammates, and I believe on a lot of tracks, YC's just got the consistency and sometimes better strategy, which Geometry sometimes misses out on. So I do believe he'll be in front of the pairing.
It's somewhat funny that you're mentioning strategy being one of Geometry's falling points, because a good strategy in the final race was what won him the initial championship, remember? But either way, looking at the overall results for Q1 so far, it's looking like Sod 85 still has the same consistency he's always had, with Jerry Pecco actually getting quite close as well. YC, I think, hit a track limit there? Oh, no, he didn't! But he just barely loses out to Sod 85. But remember, this is still Q1, so the drivers do still have a lot of time to refine their laps. And even if they don't get the greatest time, that shouldn't necessarily matter, because all that matters is they make it to the shootout. Oh, hold on! Chris Boy going forward with a really good pole lap, just barely going faster than Sod 85. Look at the margins. These are 3 drivers that are within the same hundredth of a second, only being split in Sod and Chris's case by 2 thousandths. We are looking at some of the best here. Oh, and as I say that, there's immediately another time just barely faster set by Red Jelly. And another one by X Guardian. How many drivers are gonna just barely get a pole lap? And What's going on? I don't know about you, but I wasn't expecting that many drivers to take pole after pole after pole. I mean, we know that Jerry Pecco was famous for doing it in the first race, but currently he's in P6. Honestly, I would say at this rate, it's anybody's game. Even Geometry is sitting there in 7th. That's the last place I expected him to be on his return race. I'm really taken aback by this. Huh. But yeah, flicking through the times to see who hasn't finished one of theirs. Turkslu and Hayar are going out for their full lap. They haven't tapped any track limits yet. You can tell when the drivers just don't care and just cuddle the track limits because like all these track limited segments are in red. But yeah, there is also something else quite notable as well, and you weren't really here to see it, Snake. But that is that Red Bull have had a massive falling in the standings. Ever since they hired Moto as their secondary driver, they just haven't been the same team. Not even Beastover, who, if you can remember, was the runner-up in the championship. Not even he's been able to get any points for the team yet. Do you think that could reflect on the driver's skill level or the drivers they're hiring?
I mean, drivers always want to go to a team where they feel like they've got a good management, and so it could be down to that. I'm not really too sure though, because of course, if you're a driver, would you prefer to be in a team with somebody you know or somebody you don't? So for people such as the Red Bull team principal, who I'm looking at now, he doesn't seem to be too well known.
Well, YC sets a proper YC sets a proper lap time, being multiple tenths ahead of everyone, really proving that he is in another league of his own. And right on cue, Sod85 also breaks through the 108 barrier. It's looking like those two are going to be the real championship contenders here. They have been keeping that same consistent pace ever since the beginning. But yeah, go back to what you said. You said that drivers always work best whenever they're with people they're familiar with, or when they're in a place that they feel at home in. That actually goes back to hold on. Wait. Again, Red Jelly sets a time that goes even faster than YC. Every time we think there's something that's laid out, someone is always there to just knock it out of the park. But right. The thing you said about feeling like you're welcome in a team actually goes back to something that Jensen Button said when he was in a podcast with Nico Rosberg, where he just couldn't get the performance he wanted to get with Benetton or Renault because the team really didn't see the most in him. And so that's why he only really started to push all the way when he was in Honda, and ended up bringing them to second in the Constructors in 2004, which I still can't believe. But yeah, we're nearing the end of the first qualifying session, and even though YC has still been shown to have that same kind of pace he's had from the previous race, it's looking like there were a couple of other drivers getting close to the throne, including Red Jelly, X Guardians, and even Chris Boy. As we saw in the previous race, the Alpines have actually had quite good pace this season. A stark contrast to how they're doing in real life.
Okay, if I may, we've now got the word of the quali cut-off, so anybody under P12, so it's currently Pocanaldo and below, will not be competing in Q2.
And if you look at the very bottom, just on cue, Beastover hasn't set any lap times. Whenever this happens, this usually means that Beastover is preparing himself to set just one more time to try and put himself on the board. We saw how this went last time, but will he be able to set a good enough time to put him on the board? Hold on, where is he? Yes, he is! Beastover ends up in 7th, just barely ahead of Jerry Pecco. It almost seems like he's trying to send a message for that, but We'll see if that momentum carries on into Q2 as Airbender, Pocanaldo, Dustin plays. I am Master. I think that's how you say it. I am Master are all knocked out. It's a horrendous result for McLaren, but they're just gonna have to adapt. And now you can see all of the drivers coming into the pits, and I don't really have anything to add to this, so I'm just gonna spend a moment to rest my voice.
Okay, so we're currently watching the two people still setting their final laps. Chris Boy and Dustin Plays both set the line before their laps. You can see Dustin going into the wall there, losing his front wing. That's going to be at the end of his lap. Chris Boy decimating his car. And yeah, that's going to be the end of both of them doing whatever they were just doing.
Yeah, a pretty unfortunate way to end their qualifying sessions. But there's no time to dwell on that now, as we move on to Q2.
Bo, is Pocanaldo still lapping, or is he just returning to the pits?
I don't know. I'm gonna check splits. It's looking to me like. Oh wait, it reset. Okay. Thanks, stewards.
Yep. So I believe we're only. How many are we doing? Q2 to Q1 to Q3, or are we just Q1, Q2?
No, it's Q1, Q2, Q3. It's always been like that. But yeah, off they go to set their next qualifying laps, and there's not really much to say until they properly get moving, so yeah, give it a bit of time. I'm just gonna check how the broadcast is looking on your end, just to see if everything's running fine.
Okay. Currently, and now we've got drivers on board here.
Alright. I'm looking over. Hold on. It's seeming like there's actually an error on your end with the broadcasting, because like there's a second screen going over on your end. I don't know if you intended this, but that's visible for everyone else.
That's an onboard.
Yeah, but when it's only the onboards displaying, I don't know. And also, hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna turn down my overall microphone volume because like I am just peaking on your end. Give me a sec.
I can fix it from this end if you just continue.
Alright, so my voice is gonna go quieter for a second. So yeah, my overall volume should have gone down overall. So now my microphone shouldn't be peaking. I'm trying to adjust that while we're doing it.
Okay, so currently we're riding on board with YSI, looking to set his first lap of Q2. And of course you've got YSI, Airbender, Chris Boy, Sot, Mello, Pocanaldo, Geometry, Hey, X-Guard, Red Jelly, Beast, Jerry and Turk. All into Q2. All of these people are going to be battling it out to get into Q3 to hopefully gain themselves a better slot on the grid. Okay. So, we're currently riding on board with YSI. One of the people just starting their own laps now. Let's see how he does. Okay.
Oh wait, it's looking like YSI has already set 3 purple sectors. I mean, granted, considering he was the first person to get there, but on his first lap he sets a 107.6. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's faster than any of the times in Q1. YSI's really unlocked something here. Chris Boy also sets a pretty solid time for Alpine. Son 85 goes over a line, and I think he might have tapped a track limit. Then Airbender. Hold on, Airbender didn't get eliminated. He just barely squeezed in. And now we have the current world champion, Geometry, getting ready to set his lap time, and he goes way off the track limits as he goes to probably set another lap time. I'm guessing. Yeah. If we were to look at the onboard of the If we look at the onboard of the champion, it paints a pretty interesting picture on how he's thinking, because he hasn't been on the pace of the leaders for a while now. In fact, I in fact, unless he proves himself on track, I'm not entirely sure if his previous success will be able to translate itself into race pace. This is an entirely new set of drivers he's dealing with, and Weissai, even though he was just a reserve, only showed up for a few races, so he wasn't exactly able to use all of his potential beforehand. But again, we'll just have to see how geometry works out in his overall lap time. It's seeming like, hold on, I'm checking the telemetry data now, and he sets a purple sector on the second part. Could this be an amazing time for geometry? Could the champion be back in the fighting positions? Oh, and it's Q2. It's currently a 1-2 for Ferrari in the second qualifying sector. Geometry is proving everyone wrong. They said he couldn't make a comeback in this new generation. Even I believed it for a little bit. But if this is the kind of pace that Geometry's still gonna be on, then he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yep, it appears that lots of people are also setting slower laps than they were in the last qualifying. Because you've got Pocanaldo here saying that he was setting 107.9s, yet he was knocked out. So it appears just the drivers are generally slower time, sorry. But of course, we've still got 5 minutes till Q3 begins.
Yeah, but the big... Wait, hold on. Beastova sets his fastest lap time in a really long time, just barely missing the 108. It puts him in 3rd place in the current qualifying standings. He's pretty much earned a ticket to... Oh, and Chris Boy flips! He's already in a pretty good spot. He's probably gonna make it to Q3, but that... And Jerry Pecco wanting up Beastova again, getting himself into Q3, probably just barely outspeeding Beastova. This isn't the and Sod 85 set to time as well. If Red Jelly and X Guardians have to be really careful here, otherwise they're probably not gonna make it into the final qualifying session. But of course, at the top of it all, Weissai set an incredible 107.5. He is the captain of the ship now, and he is not letting anyone else take sail. Clarify, said ship there. I didn't curse. The P was just kind of quiet. Sorry. Right. Looking at the telemetry, it's seeming like a lot of drivers are preparing themselves to set their next proper lap. Hell, Geometry's already on board with his. He hasn't set the best first sector, but of course, France is a really technical track. You could save a lot of time in some of the more technical corners. And of course, I can imagine that the team boss of Ferrari is going to be absolutely thrilled seeing the old champion back on form, giving Ferrari their first general 1-2 in ages. Oh wait, Geometry actually hit a track limit. That's a bit unusual for him, considering how tight he normally takes his lines. And that would have been. Yeah, that would have been a 107.6, so that would have been an overall improvement. A bit unfortunate from him, but then again, for what must be the billionth time in a row, Sod 85 is the fastest of the non-Ferrari drivers. He's really making a name for himself. If he can get his breakout day, he might have a chance to get a race win or even fight for the championship with Weissai. But then again, now he has Geometry to worry about after Geometry came back to the championship. Honestly, we all thought he would have Rosberged it and just left flat out after winning the championship. But no, it seems like Geometry class is here to stay. So there's only 2 minutes left to set a proper lap time, and for a lot of drivers, this only means 1 more attempt or 2 more attempts. Looking at some of the other jump telemetry data, Jerry Pecco is about to set a new lap time. Is it going to be an improvement? Not quite. It is close, but it just barely isn't an improvement. But flicking through some of the other times, Solid 85 is only setting yellow sector, so he's not going to be able to get an improvement to his time fairly soon. But again, he's done everything he needs to. He's pretty much got himself into the shootout anyway. As a reminder, it's everyone in the top 8 who makes it. Beastover, very familiar with that. But yeah, looking at some of the other drivers who are trying to set up a time, there aren't really anyone who's currently on a flying lap yet, except for maybe Airbender, but he's just exited out of the pit, so I'm not so sure. Yeah, there's not really much I can add here. We just gotta wait until someone gets some fairly good pace. Yeah, literally everyone has a red sector. If I was to guess, they are cutting every single track limit possible just so they can get one more chance at a lap. And like, look at the track right now. It's almost comical of how much they're cutting the track limits. Like, if you were to do that in a public lobby, you'd be witch trialed. But yeah, flicking through some of the other cars, Chris Boy has also been making still some.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's Geometry flipping just before he was about to start his final lap. That will crush his hopes of qualifying above YC, well, in Q2. So he's still got the chance of Q3 coming back up. Over to you.
Yeah, that thing. It says that YC could potentially have better pace than his championship brethren. But now, looking at the very bottom of the standings, there's one final chance for the drivers at the very bottom to bring themselves into the shootout. With the first one being Melanito. He set a yellow sector in the first one, but he goes too wide and hits a track limit. That's gonna be the end of his qualifying hopes. And now there's Airbender, who's the other Swede on the track, who set a pretty good first sector. So maybe he'll be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and get McLaren into Q3. They haven't gotten into Q3 yet, from what I know. McLaren really got the raw end of the deal when it came to their performance this year, at least in Project Apex. So Airbender sets 2 green sectors in a row. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be enough to get him into the shootout, but he just needs a few more good corners, and then we'll be able to see.
Oh,
he doesn't hit a track limit.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, and he taps the curb! Might have ended his run entirely!
Sorry to interrupt, but it's that's Jerry now getting up into Q3, just qualifying P4, as we just saw.
He was always that.
I'm really stupid.
You didn't realize that,
Ignore me.
Guy that almost gets into Q3 and then taps a curb is a lot more of an in the moment thing than oh no, this guy who was going to qualify then tap the curb. I don't. But either way, we now have our 8 drivers for Q3. It's a 1-2 for the Ferraris. Jerry Pecco makes it in as well. There's an Alpine on top of that. One of the Williams squeezed in as well. And for the first time in this season, a Red Bull is into Q3, as Beastover has really started to break out of his shell. But if that's going to reflect in the final lap time and in the overall results, we're gonna have to wait and see. Because maybe that disastrous result that Red Bull had previously is an omen, or it could have been a fluke. It's one of the two, and Beastover has a lot to prove to show that it's the latter. So again, we're just waiting for the cars to finish their And I always think probably the funniest bit is how everyone just collectively decides, yeah, you know what? Who needs track limits? And like, just look at that. It makes me chuckle. But yeah, it's seeming like X-Guardian is going to be the first person to... Okay, never mind. YC... Wait, is that YC? Yeah, no, that's Geometry. Geometry says, no thank you, I'm the champion, gives him a cheery little wave, and he... No, not even that! Wait, what? Hold up. one of the horses are just kind of sitting there on the grid. Like, hold up, I'm gonna try and walk out to see if he's still there. Yeah, one of the horses are already just kind of sitting there on the grid, just waiting for everyone to finish. You'll probably be able to see him by the time that everyone goes over. Like, he's already accepted his fate. But either way, X-Guardian actually setting a really solid time overall. He's getting some good lines. He hasn't tapped the track limit yet, and he even witnesses geometry cutting too far into a track limit. He taps the curb a little bit, but if he doesn't cut it here, ooh, you can see all the hope escaping from his eyes the second he stopped turning there. Does Chris Boy make the same mistake? I'm not entirely sure if he did, actually. That may have been a track limit. That may have not been, because as we've seen from a lot of these drivers, they really like to jump out just to get the most pristine tire conditions for their lap times. Like, if they can't take the absolute tightest lines, they're not even gonna bother. But like I said, YC has been in a lot of public events, and he's shown to be the best of the best. Jerry Pecco sets the first time. Here comes Chris Boy. He doesn't quite get a faster time than that. Jerry Pecco's time is solid, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to hold him into Q1, especially considering the YC is coming in cold. Son 85 sets a purple sector on his lap, and wait, YC Sot reset. Okay, never mind. But yeah, flicking through the other drivers, YC is already attempting his second lap. He gets a yellow sector for the beginning. Not exactly the best for the person currently leading the championship, but he is taking his signature ridiculous lines as per usual, cutting, just barely missing the track limits, like you can see them with an X-ray. Not saying that he is. He's not cheating. I'm just doing that as an anatomy. Okay? Well, YC just barely missing one of the most aggressive track limits on the track there. Just wait until we get to Canada. The amount of people that are gonna fall victim to that extended track limit on the first turn is gonna be crazy. YC goes into the straight. Is it gonna be enough to take pole from Jerry Pecco? Yes, it is. It's a 107.899, just barely under the sub 7.9 mark by the thinnest possible margins. But of course, the other drivers will naturally have quite a bit to say about it. Jerry Pecco already heading out to set another lap time. Son 85 hasn't been able to set anything proper, and in a really quite shocking turn of events, a lot of drivers just haven't set proper times at all. They all just kept on tapping the track limits. I'm gonna go on board with X-Guardian now. I think what's his name? Snake is probably going to follow through as well. He set a yellow sector for the first half, but he also set a green for the second one. This could probably be a pretty decent time if he finishes it. And it seems like a lot of drivers just aren't going to set any times. Where's Guardian going to be on the grid? He comes P4, just barely behind Chris. But of course, Beastover and Geometry are yet to set their lap times, and they've only got one more shot at this. Beastover really likes setting his lap times at the last possible moment. He gets a purple sector for the second part. Could Beastover finally get a good qualifying position for Red Bull? On hold? Oh, he just barely misses out on pole for YC, but still, second place the Red Bull. That's a result that they were only dreaming of after their terrible result beforehand. Here comes Son 85. Son is on pole. Son 85 is on pole after an incredible lap at the beginning. But still, we have to wait and see how Red Jelly and Geometry are going to qualify, because I don't think YC is going to be able to finish another lap. Yeah, he hit a track limit there. Where's Geometry going to end up in the standings, though? Geometry comes in fourth. Pretty good result overall from the current champion. And now we're waiting with bated breath on what kind of a lap time the... Okay, is the Aston Martin gone? Alright, I think the Aston Martin's gone. Yeah, there's no Aston Martin. And overall, after a shocking result from the qualifying, Red Bull are back in form, starting on the second row, right next to the current champion. Beast of It and Geometry, rivals united again at last. And probably the most surprising thing, YC missed out on getting his second consecutive pole to Sod 85. He's been having some incredible pace, just barely being a little bit behind YC. But do you think this is going to bode well for his overall standings? Do you think this could be like an omen for Sod 85's potential performance in the rest of the championship? Talking to you, Snake.
I'm not too sure really, but I did just pick up on YC started and finished a lap after he'd run out of time.
Huh. Let me check the times on that. Even then it wouldn't have been faster from what I'm seeing. Sod 85 is on another level today. Is he going to be able to continue that momentum in the race? Again, YC is a really strong opponent. He's really good at maintaining his overall pace, so we'll just have to wait and see.
What a quiet qualifying grid.
I wouldn't exactly say it was quiet. We got a new pole sitter with Mercedes starting at the front of the row for the first time. So yeah, well done on that. That's meant to be a clap. Like that's like, look at this, Roblox. That's not even close to a clap. What is that? I guess, you know, have an air guitar instead. But yeah, looking at the overall qualifying grid, Red Bull is back on top form again, getting a third in the standings after that terrible result in Germany. It's seeming like Mercedes, for the cost of being on pole, their wingman didn't have a good qualifying session at all. In fact, they haven't had that any good luck flat out. Because if you remember, in the previous race, they were fighting near the top. But they lagged off the track, and the Project Apex gods looked at that, went no, and then gave him the worst track acclimate penalty known to man. So let's hope that doesn't happen again in this race. We actually got some words from some of the drivers as well, but unfortunately the chat filter is currently broken, so we can't exactly hear what they're saying. Thanks, Roblox, you're a very functional game. Me when for a second I thought my chat was actually going to go through because it stayed up for a remarkable amount of time. But still, everyone's locked in on the race. They're all waiting for the 5 red lights. Whoever gets off the line first could determine... Actually, wait, no, what am I talking about? Oh, look. Hello, chat. Got the angle perfect there. I really did. Oh my god. Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. Okay, we've actually got the safety car at the back of the grid as well. I don't know if this is like a thing that they just...
That's normal, that's normal.
Ah, yeah, right. I must have just not noticed it before. So now, the lap counter is confirmed. The 5 red lights are coming through. We're ready to race. France, gentlemen, start your engines. It's lights out and away we go. And Sod 85 actually gets off quite good on the line, but Beastaba is only a little bit behind, and YC is already looking for the optimal lines to get ahead. Who's gonna get the most out of this? That's yet to be seen. Sod 85 still has the lead, but not by much. YC is currently maintaining the same pace he's always had. Jerry Pecker's actually doing a pretty good job cutting through the field. YC already finds a better line than Sod 85 at the curb, and YC takes the lead of the race, but Sod 85 was carrying more momentum into the corner, and he briefly gets ahead as well. It's honestly too close to tell who's actually ahead, and now Jerry Pecco shoots his way into 3rd place. Remember, I think he started like 6th or 7th. That was an incredible showcase from him. But now he's starting to fall back behind Geometry, and even Chris Boy. If someone's gonna slip, that's gonna be really apparent. And throughout all of this, 85 doesn't get the best line out of one of the corners, and the spectacular Swede YC is in the lead of the French Grand Prix. But now, he didn't exactly get the best line out of there, as Sod 85 is now starting to catch up. If he can stay within that 1 second barrier and still get within the DRS by lap 3, then he might just have a chance. YC and Sod are both running on hards, but it's also worth mentioning that Chris Boy, even though he's in P3, he's on the soft, so he's not going to be able to maintain his tire pace for that much longer. Sod and YC are actually equal to each other. Geometry's trying to get a bite out of the leading pie as well. So many drivers are within just a second of each other. The DRS chain links with almost the entire field, going from P1 to P13. So if they can keep pace with YC and Sod 85, that's going to be a massive boost for the whole field. But of course, DRS detection in this game is really jank. YC actually cuts it a little bit wide. I think that was his intention. He might have tapped a track limit there. Yes, he tapped a track limit by going slightly too wide. Turkslew actually finds his way through the crowd as well, bringing another Alpine up. Oh, and Sod 85 tapped the curb. That's going to be pretty disastrous for him. But again, YC has tapped a track limit. That may come into play later. He's going to have to play it really safe. DRS should be enabled now, considering we're in lap 3. Sod 85 has successfully kept himself within range. No, DRS hasn't been activated just yet. He needs to stay within YC for just a little bit longer, and it's seeming like he's starting to get away. But again, YC actually has a really terrible exit out of that corner. Sod 85 takes the lead again. And now Chris Boy is getting close again. Turkslew as well. Jerry Pecco finds a line ahead of Turkslew. Honestly, it's a little bit too close to call who's leading. Chris Boy is actually on Sod 85 and YC's doorstep. He just needs to survive a little bit longer, and then he'll have the benefit of DRS to back him up. YC taps the curb again, and it's Sod 85 in the lead again. The drivers, they just keep changing positions. It's a little difficult to tell. And now the DRS train is somewhat split, only going up to... Actually, wait, no, hold on. It's holding on by a thread. Never mind. Jerry Pecco gets the position on Turkslew. He's looking to try and make it a podium position, and considering how close the podiums are, maybe even a win on YC. And also, it seems that Geometry must have made some sort of mistake, as he's now only barely in
Yep,
the point.
I saw him running wide and onto the sand in the opening few laps of this race.
That's a bit uncharacteristic of him. If he's a returning champion, then he's really got to step out of his game. But also, here comes Chris Boy. He's got tons of speed. Something tells me that he's popping almost all of his ERS on that straight so he can carry the momentum. He taps the curb just a tiny bit, but it's no problem. The Alpine is carrying more speed than the championship leader and their closest rival. If he can keep these lines, we might see Alpine get onto the podium or even take a race win. And it's still looking like YC and Sod 85 are right next to each other. It's honestly difficult to tell who's going to keep a consistent lead. Heya is now battling with Red Jelly as well. It's looking like both of them, wheel to wheel, are quite the competitors with each other. Now, YC trying to break away again, but Sod 85 just isn't moving. Chris Boy using those softs to every little degree that he can. But of course, those softs are going to be wearing soon. He might have to give the position to Jerry Pecco if he's not able to keep up. It's DRS for Chris Boy, DRS for Sod 85, and YC looks into his mirror as Sod 85 actually takes a pretty bad line there. And now, cutting ahead of Sod 85 is Chris Boy, who is moments away from taking hold on. Chris Boy is moments away from taking P2. He just has to get a couple of good lines, and then he's made it into the front row. But again, the problem is he's got softs on. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be able to keep that momentum. Looking at the back of the grid, I thought there was a slip there, but it was just the lag confusing me. Beastamer and Dustin, hold on. Beastava must have made some major mistake as well, as he's fallen back into the crowd quite a bit, as now he's fighting for position against Geometry. Something tells me that these drivers they're something else. But also, YC gets a really good line, and he's finally starting to break away from Son 85. Is it going to be enough to prevent him from getting DRS? Yes, it is, actually. Son 85 isn't able to activate his DRS. That's going to be a huge blow to his pace. Chris Boy, I don't even think he was able to activate it. Something must have happened there. But that stroke of luck, it's reflected well on YC as he's now breaking away out of the DRS zone, making space into the lead. Is there anything you have to say on this, Snake?
Not really, but have we seen that there's currently some people within just 6 laps which are 18 seconds behind the rest of the grid? I don't see their contracts getting renewed, personally.
Yeah, I am Master is really, really falling behind. I don't think he's going to be able to keep himself afloat if the only person he's battling is a V-Carb. Like, that just doesn't bode well, does it? Now, look, flicking back at the top. Oh, Son 85 is now wheel to wheel with Chris Boy, fighting for that P2. But just behind them, out of absolutely nowhere, Jerry Pecco has found that same pace. Now, he's chasing both of them down to the ends of the earth. Son 85 actually hit a track limit in the previous lap, so he's going to have to play really careful if he doesn't want to get penalized. Jerry Pecco is looking to do everything he can to try and break ahead of the Merc and the... Wait, hold on. He's doing everything he can to try and break ahead of the Merc and the Alpine. The Alpine probably isn't going to be ahead of Soft for that long, considering they had to go for Softs. And look at that. Son 85 gets a beautiful line and cuts ahead of Chris Boy. When that's going to reflect on the telemetry, I don't know. But again, Chris Boy's Softs currently playing to his advantage, but it's unknown how long that's going to be helpful for him. Jerry Pecco taking better lines than both of them, bringing himself closer and closer and closer to that ever-so-glorious podium. Again, Jerry Pecco is the flashiest driver on the grid, so whenever he starts making positions, he makes it known. And just behind him as well, Red Jelly has been keeping some particularly good pace for Aston Martin. They weren't exactly on the best form in the last race, despite some really good qualifying results. So if that previous qualifying is going to reflect it into some long-term pace, again, we'll just have to wait and see. Chris Boy is now falling behind to Jerry Pecco. He's not quite gotten there yet, but Jerry Pecco is just inching closer and closer. And now that he's within the DRS range, when they get onto that long straight next, I can imagine it's not going to be smooth sailing for the Alpine. He's made it into Q2, but now begins the moment where the tire degradation really gets into his head. And on top of that, Son 85 goes really wide again, and I'm pretty sure he just hit a second track limit.
He's spun round! Not swapping places! We've got a replay of just a little bit of that from an onboard I just managed to catch. But he's all the way down to P5 now, not what he would have wanted.
Yeah, I did not catch that from the lag at all, but now that promotes Jerry Pecco straight into P2 after getting some great pace on Chris Boy. And now it's Jerry Pecco leading that group with YC still having that same pace he's known for. If Jerry Pecco can keep up the same pace that he's known for, this could be Stake's best result in just that second race. And looking down the order as well, Beastava and Geometry have both been starting to climb places quite a bit. Those old championship rivals, they're starting to get outnumbered by the new kids on the block, and they're currently, I'm pretty sure, just fighting to see who's better out of the two. Beastava is carrying more speed into the corners than Geometry. If he can get a better end line here, then Red Bull's going to be really happy with that. And also, I noticed that Moto didn't even attend the race after his really controversial start, finishing dead last in the running order and completely breaking the leaderboards. Oh, and you look at that! Geometry goes wide! He's forced to get the position of Beastava as he jumps into P6! And now Geometry is falling behind him, even Mercedes' wingman! If Geometry can't keep up this pace for the rest of the season, he might have to hang up his gloves. I don't know, this is looking quite bad for him. But now, Beastaba has shot his way into P5. That hard compound is really working wonders for him, as Jerry Pecco is now far away from the previous DRS train that Red Jelly was threatening. If he can keep some consistent pace, then there's a chance that he could probably catch up to YC, because from my knowledge, I don't think Jerry Pecco's touched any track limits yet, but YC has one out of 3, and YC's known to be really, really delicate when it comes to, well, not delicate, reckless with how he manages the track limits. I don't know how I came up with just the flat-out wrong word. And also, if we look at the telemetry, almost every single driver has nothing but yellow sectors from P1 to P15. That's quite the marvel to see, isn't it? And Beastaba, hold on, Beastaba tapped a track limit! That isn't going to reflect in his results now, but if he isn't able to keep himself consistent, that could knock him down the results, and he could end up back where Geometry is, who, speaking of which, is only getting closer and closer to Beastaba now. Oh, and Geometry's had a massive spin! Geometry hits the wall! He now has a lot of places to recover!
Missing front wing!
Incident now!
He's going to be forced to pit now.
Can I speak? This is looking really bad for Geometry. If he can't make up these positions, then his contract with Ferrari might even be in question. He's in P10 now. No, P11. How did... Jeez. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Yeah, he's lost his front wing now, which is going to force him to pit, and that loss of downforce is going to hinder him throughout every corner, which is still to come on this lap, which is the reason why he cannot keep going like this. He's going to be forced to pit, which will force him to think of what alternative strategy do I take? Do I go on to the mediums? Do I go on to the mediums fence off? So what does he do?
No, his front wing was gone. I'm looking at all of this in cockpit cams, which if anyone's seen how I drive, I only drive with the free cam, so that's kind of sacrilegious for me to say, but it's just more convenient when I'm spectating. But yeah, Jerry Pecco, even though he's got some really good pace, he isn't quite able to keep up with YC, who sets a purple sector in the previous lap. He is just on another level, and he has been since the beginning of this season. If anyone is poised to take this championship, it's gonna be him. But looking at the rest of the field, Red Jelly is actually catching up to Jerry Pecco as well. If he's going to be able to make a move on him, I'm not entirely sure. Both of them are on the hard compounds. In fact, the only people that aren't on the hard compounds right now are Pocanaldo, Chris Boy, Turkslu, X-Guardian, Airbender, and Melon. Oh, and Geometry as well, but we've all seen what's been going on with him. In fact, I'm pretty sure he just switched to the softs because he had to pit. Yeah, he's lost about 20 seconds because of his early pit, and the wear of those softs later on is really going to be affecting him. Beastaba now actually having a battle with Heya for P5. Oh, and Jerry Pecco is getting outpaced by Red Jelly. Did he make a mistake? Yeah, I think Jerry Pecco must have hit a track limit and then had the speed limiter on, as now Red Jelly moves into P2 after having a charge through the standings. A really amazing showcase from him, and now it's a podium battle between Sod85 and Jerry Pecco. Again, Jerry is shown to be the wait, no, hold on. Both of the drivers are known to be really consistent, but Sod85 has been a consistent championship threat to YC. If he's going to be able to make that pace back up again to make it into a Q2, he's going to have no Q2, a P2. He's going to have to do it fast. Right, hold on. Okay, Sod actually takes a much cleaner line than Jerry Pecco, who slightly taps the curb on his entry. They're actually getting quite close to Red Jelly as well. He's in both the driver's sights. If they can get a little bit closer to him, then every driver's going to have DRS. Red Jelly taps the track limit! Red Jelly now falls behind both of the other drivers as Jerry Pecco is promoted to P2. But how long is that going to last, considering how fast Sod85 is going? Sod gets a way better line than Jerry Pecco, gives him a cheery little wave, and again, I'm not entirely sure if there's too much more that Jerry Pecco could do, but he isn't even able to open DRS. If Jerry Pecco wants to get that position back from Sun 85, he's going to need to eat pure racecraft to bring it back. And cutting forward to YC as well, he's still remaining to just casually be in a league of his own. Nobody's matching him. He's 10 seconds ahead now after half of the race is done. But now, cutting back to geometry, the previous championship the previous championship winner is now struggling to get into the points. He's just gotten ahead of Dustin and is now battling for Turkslu 4P9. Though keep in mind, geometry does have that soft compound tire, so that's going to help him a lot. And flicking over to Beastimer as well. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay, I think Beastimer might have just pitted. I think that's what's happened. I think a lot of drivers are...
Yeah, he has pitted. A few people have started to pit now.
Yeah, I thought Beastimer just made a massive mistake. It would be nice if there was a hit stop counter on the lap detector. There's a suggestion for you, Ak. I'll add it later. Maybe you still have that taste in your mouth after I told you to pause the record, but like, whatever. Okay, Chris Boy now fighting for positions against Pocanaldo. He gets a good line, but whether Pocanaldo is going to be able to fight back isn't the question. He's been able to do some particularly crazy things with that Haas, almost getting it into a podium position before getting denied by Jerry Pecco, who's currently at the front battling out with Sun 85 for P2. But yeah, flicking through the rest of the order, Geometry is currently in P8, looking to see how many more places he can make up. Of course, a lot of the drivers ahead of him haven't pit yet. I can imagine that Pocanaldo and Chris Boy are getting quite close to that point where they'll want to. Did YC pit? I don't think he's pit yet. But yeah, the front couple drivers all picked hard, specifically so they could go into the pits later. The other drivers will catch up to them once they've entered the pits. Actually, wait, no, hold on. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, with 12 laps to go, YC is looking to be in a particularly dominant position. He only has one warning so far, and he's looking to not be scared at all by that fact. In fact, he's just... Hold on! Beastimer sets a fastest first sector. I think Beastimer might have just set the fastest lap out of everyone there. Maybe it's because he's got new mediums? Oh, he's... Okay, Red Bull makes some really strange strategic decisions, I swear. But yeah. Looking at the rest of the grid, Sun 85 locks up, and that gives Jerry Pecco the door to take P2. And now is the question on if he's going to pit now or not, despite being on the hards. No, not quite. He's going to try and carry this compound for as long as it can go, as it's still a really close battle between Sun 85 and Jerry. Jerry Pecco slips! Oh, and Jerry Pecco taps the wall! He could have recovered, but he lost
because that's a DNF.
Momentum, and now Jerry Pecco is out of the race. That's the last thing that Sauber wanted, considering the pace that Jerry has been shown to have. And Jerry, after all of that, can only say in chat, bruh. I mean, bruh indeed. That now promotes Beastimer to getting back into some substantial points without him really trying. There are questions as to whether there's going to be a safety car out. Could that be one out, considering
it's
that
been confirmed that there won't now.
Okay, that hasn't triggered a safety car, despite that definitely looking like it went over the rest of the track. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process is there, but hey, the more you know. Because if you remember, the last time there was a safety car on this track, it ended up driving completely off of it. Honestly, that's a really sad result from Jerry Pecco, considering that that's going to affect his championship results drastically. It's the last thing that Stake wanted to see. But yeah, Sun 85 is now alone in the same position he was beforehand, 12 seconds behind YC. If he can keep second place again, he may still have a chance at the championship.
Okay, currently you've just had heat. P4 almost crashing in the exact same place, going left, right, and just regaining back on the track. He's now going to be overtaken by Chris Boy by the looks of it, but let's get a replay.
A lot of the drivers aren't necessarily getting the hang of that corner over there. It's seeming like, if I were to make a prediction, that's probably going to claim at least one more driver, and that might end up triggering a safety car. Because if it's already happened to 2 drivers now, who's to say that it's not going to happen again? Well, YC, keeping it as consistent as possible, he taps the curb, gives it a little bit of a slip, but he has more than enough time to bleed. He is not repeating the same mistake as everyone else. He learned that the second he saw that Jerry Pecker was out and where he was out on. But yeah, flicking through to the other drivers, Beastimer taps the curb, almost slides the car out, but he's still in P9, fighting for as many points as he can get. Geometry in P6.
Oh my god, I don't know who that just was.
Chris Boy! No, it wasn't Chris Boy. It was the other Alpine. I think it was Turkslew. I lost track. So now, Geometry has battled his way all the way to P5. Remember, he lost a wing before. So this is an incredible comeback from Geometry. If he's able to climb up even more positions, he may even end up challenging for the podium against Red Jelly. If that happens, that would be a sensational drive for Geometry when we all were looking away. But really, that's the thing with him. He has the most pace when nobody's thinking about him. So, if anyone really hates Geometry, spam his DMs, I guess. I don't condone that. Shut up. Okay, Geometry actually cuts it a little bit wide. I think he just barely missed the track limit. And now YC exiting out from the pits with a new soft compound tire. I think he's going to be ahead of Sod 85 if he can build up enough speed. He's within his vision, and I think it's about a 2-second gap overall. And considering the YC's on the soft compound tire now, this race for him is more than in the bag.
Yep, especially considering that Stott hasn't pit and YC has.
Yeah, Sot is still on that old hard compound tire, and considering how long the drivers are trying to make it go for, that might end up reflecting in the overall results. As Geometry already pit ages ago and is still on that soft compound tire, if he's going to be able to maintain it when he wears is going to be the important question, though. Beastimer is also fighting for positions as well, now being in P9, but I'm not a. Oh wait, he has pit. I remember now. There are a lot of drivers that are yet to pit, so whether that's gonna reflect in the overall results, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Oh, YC takes it really wide, and he just barely misses tapping the wall. He had 2 track limits in the previous lap. I think he might have tried to burn it. Sod 85 now goes into the pits, switching to the medium compound tire. I would have just gone for the softs considering how little time is left. But you do you. Now
everybody's pitting now.
Geometry diving in for more. Geometry diving in for another set of the soft compound tire. I would have just continued with the compound he's already on, but again, you do you. Okay, Guardian and Melon, the 2 Williams drivers, are actually quite close to each other on the same compound as well. And flicking through the order, Beastum has gotten a P6 after everyone else has gone on through their compounds. It's currently looking like Red Jelly and Sod 85 are currently the best bets for getting in the podium, but Turkslew is looking to make up quite a bit of pace. Geometry is now having a battle with Pocanaldo.
Does Pocanaldo have his front wing?
Wait, let me check.
No, he does not.
He doesn't! He doesn't have his front wing. Of course, I can't see from, Actually, yes, I can. I'm just stupid. And it's like a really subtle change, so it's really difficult to notice unless you're fully locking in on that. But still, Sod 85 keeping things consistent for the team. Again, he very slightly slips there, but he does recover it. Not even enough to really demand a replay, I think. It's just general racecraft that he's keeping control of. A lot of the drivers are just casually going over the, what do you call the yellow bumps? The curbs?
Sausage curbs. Can I just put that out there? That Pocanaldo is still lapping while missing a front wing.
Yeah, that's impressive from him, but he might have to later because he cut really wide into that corner, and it's currently going to be a battle between him, Ex-Guardians, and Mello, the two Williams, as to whether he's going to end up in the points without a front wing. But considering how little laps there are, I think he might have to call it and either pit or retire. One of the two. But now, Turkslu has actually been making ground on... Oh, wait, no, that's not Red Jelly. Never mind. I thought that was another driver.
I didn't notice this happen, but Chris Boy has DNF'd.
Huh? Where did that come from? Maybe he hit it in the same spot and none of us saw?
Maybe.
Yeah, there are three cars that have crashed out now. I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten a safety car. But even if there was a safety car at this point, there would be so little racing laps that it would honestly just be detrimental for geometry, and that's it. I mean, no, YC. Never mind. I'm still. Yeah, the stewards have only just noticed that Chris is out of the race. So. Again, that must have slipped under everyone to know this. If Chris could send a message on how that happened and maybe a clip. Okay, the safety car window is closed. There is no opportunity for the safety car to come out. So it's looking like YC's win is in the bag. They had the chance to bring out the safety car earlier with the crash from Jerry Pecco, and they didn't. That's probably going to cause a little bit of controversy, but I think it's generally fine. But yeah, Red Jelly, bringing Aston Martin to what I think is their first podium. He taps the curb a little bit, but he's slowly running through the time which he has left. He's 5 seconds ahead of Heya. If Heya can make pace towards Red Jelly, then Heya might be able to take that podium right under Aston Martin's nose.
Sorry to interrupt, but Sot is missing a front wing. The P2 driver is now being chased down by Red Jelly, getting closer and closer. Coming up behind him now.
How many people keep losing their wings? It's France! How do you lose your front wing in France? But either way, Red Jelly now has the pace of an absolute monster behind Sod 85, who now has the battle of a lifetime, considering he has to keep his P2 position with only 4 laps to go. Is Red Jelly going to be able to break through and get Aston Martin's best ever finish with a P2? Again, it's looking like Sod 85 isn't exactly too uncomfortable without the front wing, but it is biting into his overall performance. He might even lose an overall podium if he's not able to control it. It's seeming like Red Jelly has a pretty easy path ahead of him, and Sod 85 slows down. Red Jelly gives a little smirk, and that was about all that Sod 85 could do, as now Red Jelly is into the front row, and unless YC makes a catastrophic mistake with only a few laps to go, it's seeming like that's about as far as Aston Martin can go. But yeah, flicking through the rest of the grid, Geometry and Beastava are now alongside each other after a long race of trials and tribulations. And Geometry and Beastava, they've both picked different compounds. Beastava on the mediums, Geometry on the softs. And this battle for P6 really does represent a different era for Project Apex. These two were rivals at the top of their game a few months back. But now they're fighting for P6. And maybe even P5 if Sod 85 can't keep enough pace. They may be able to one of them may be able to use that as a bit of a DRS trump card if they're not in range of Turkslu. Who, speaking of which, Turkslu is starting to lose quite a lot of positions. Heya cuts it pretty wide. He nearly taps with the side of the track. This may be a surprise podium from one of the two if something ends up happening. As P6 to P3, they're all starting to get closer with just 3 laps to go. Anything can happen at this rate. Heya and Turkslu are starting to lose position to Geometry, who opens his DRS. Beastiver isn't quite able to do it, so that's going to give him quite a bit more work to do. If Geometry can get a podium out of this, again, that would be historical. And it doesn't seem too out of the question, considering the furthest driver ahead to be entirely fine is Heya, and Sod 85 is just biding for time without that front wing.
You'll never guess what I've just seen on the subject of front wings. The person he's lapping is, guess what? Missing a front wing.
How? Geometry slips! It's a catastrophic result for the current champion! But after such a close battle, he's not able to bring his Ferrari into the podium positions. It's absolutely tragic for what was previously such a dominant driver. And it's seeming like in this duel of champion and rival, Beastiver is going to be the one that comes out on top. But now, Sod 85 is seriously running out of time. There are many drivers bundling up towards him, including Turkslu, Heya, and even to an extent Beastiver. If he can make enough time, he may be able to slip up in a P5. But again, he's running out of time. He's only got 2 laps to go for the rest of this. And cutting at the front, in a stark contrast, YC is about to start his final lap. He's currently lapping over a lot of the other cars. Sod 85 is getting very close to losing his position to Heya. Maybe, after such a sensational result, we could see Sod 85 potentially keeping on to his podium position. But it's seeming very much in the question, as Heya is now starting to get closer and closer and closer, as the margin is only getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But for now, let's focus in on the front-running driver as they come in to finish their winning lap. YC, he was previously a wingman in his last year who barely got any races, but there was a monster hiding behind all of that. One which was waiting to awaken, which was waiting for the call to go all out. And now that he's leading the championship and Geometry has come in at such worse pace than him, it's seeming like this championship is YC's for the leading. He comes through the final straight and YC wins the French Grand Prix rather spectacularly as well. Sod 85 is still actually holding on to position against Heya.
Heya's just got in front.
Wait, Heya gets in front, but if he's going to be able to maintain
that... And that Sot crashing, Sot is in the wall. And that means that he's just been overtaken by Turk, Beastiver. They're all going past now.
Okay, cutting back to the front. Red Jelly takes a comfortable P2, and after such a close fight with his teammate, Heya brings it into the podium positions.
Turks and Beastiver side by side.
Turkslu just barely keeps ahead of the previous championship runner-up to make it a P4 for the Alpine. It's a massive improvement for Red Bull, but probably not what they were hoping for. And now, Sod 85 has to settle with 6, just barely beating the 2 V-Carbs in 7th and 8th. And then from there, it's Poker Loco, Airbender, and then we're out of the points. It was an incredible drive from YC, but that was pure chaos with so many crashing drivers in the midst of all of that. And honestly, could anyone have predicted that Sod 85 was going to hold onto his position against his wingman without a front wing until the final lap? I didn't see that coming from a mile away. But still, Mercedes' first podium, I think, comes at the hand of their wingman. What an incredible race from front to back.
Yep, let's see them pulling up by the podium now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up as well. Yeah. When we were here last year, it was a story of the wingmen. Beastiver was leading, but he couldn't quite hold on to his speed. And it was his teammate Blopsy which ended up taking his first and only Project Apex win. And now, it's a story of the wingman in a very similar sense. As all three drivers on the podium right now are wingmen. YC was originally thought to be just a stepping stone in the way of... Wait, what's that yellow car? What is that? I have never seen that before. What is that? Hello? Huh? Okay, I was confused there for a second. But still, so look at the front row. As I was saying, this is a tale of wingman. Last year, it was Blopsy that got his first and only win. The wingman for Red Bull and the person who brought in the P2 in the Constructors. And now, it's a story of wingmen in a very different sense. YC was originally thought to be just another stepping stone in the way for geometry, but he's really come out of his shell since the beginning of this season and has been keeping Ferrari at that front step. Red Jelly was more or less entirely forgotten after Aston Martin's teammate moved in as a champion from another league, but they haven't been able to finish any races so far. Correct me if Red Jelly is that driver, but I don't think he is. And then finally, probably the most surprising result here, the first ever podium for Mercedes is from their wingman, where Heya had a battle with Sot 85 to the very end, despite him not having a wing to show for it. And so it's been a thrilling result. Snake, I'm wrapping up, okay? It's been an incredible result for YC. He moves even further into the standings. Mercedes also have a really good showing in the Constructors. Jay-Z, come on, dude. They're looking to try and get even closer to Ferrari. In fact, I think Mercedes might even be leading the Constructors now. Someone will have to correct me later if I'm wrong. But considering that the Ferrari drivers haven't been having the best results outside of it, that Mercedes now have double point scorers, it's looking particularly good for them. Snake, put some damn clothes on. Oh wait, there is. Right. You're wearing pink. Right. My apologies. I got confused. But yeah. Okay. And there's one question from the P3 driver. Do we get to do donuts? You know what? You know what, Jelly? I don't know if the regulations say it, but from my perspective, yes, you can. So, it's been a thrilling race this week, but what are the results going to show next week? No, hold on, let me try that again. This week has been quite the race for every position on the grid, but is that momentum going to carry over to next week? And is someone maybe even going to dethrone YC? Join us next time for the third round of Project Apex. Why are you shaking? Is it cold? Do you need a police? Do you need a fleece?